Good afternoon, students. Today we will continue with the second chapter, Methods of Enquiry in Psychology. In the previous session, we had discussed about how psychologists also rely, like other scientists, on formal and systematic and very objective scientific enquiry methods, and the same approach is taken in enquiry in psychology as well. All right. We had also discussed about the various methods of enquiry in psychology that we will study in this chapter. These are the 6 methods that we will study in this chapter. Then we have studied about the various goals of psychological enquiry. All these goals are followed by the psychologist in each and every psychological enquiry method. All right. These are the various steps that we had discussed about in the previous session of in the scientific research that psychologists take up. This is the step by step technique which is followed very systematically and very objectively, free from any kind of subjective biases. The first is the conceptualization of the problem. After conceptualization, the data collection. Scientists and psychologists proceed for data collection. The data is collected very systematically and very objectively. Then, after the collection of the data, statistical methods are used to interpret the data, to analyze the data and find out the results out of it for drawing conclusion. That is the third step. And after drawing conclusions, when the hypothesis is verified, if any new finding comes after testing the hypothesis, then again results are revised and another research problem is taken up by the psychologist, and this is the step by step process that is followed by the psychologist in conducting scientific research, in conducting psychological research in psychology. Now these were the topics that we had discussed in the previous portions. Today we will discuss about the alternative paradigms of research. Now, interpretive technique is an alternative way of conducting psychological research. These techniques particularly give emphasis on the importance of human beings giving meaning to events, actions and interpret them as they occur in a particular context. Now ये interpretive techniques उन cases में use किया जाता है, ये वो alternative paradigm है या वो alternative technique है, method है, जो हम use करते हैं उन cases पे जहाँ पे experiment या कोई psychological research conduct करना संभव नहीं है. Alright, this technique is particularly used where any kind of scientific research or any kind of artificially creating any situation cannot be put into cannot be practiced there. जैसे कि for example experiences by persons who have been facing some kind of problem, who have been suffering from some kind of problem, like people who are affected by tsunami, earthquake victims or cyclone victims, or persons who are facing some prolonged illness or any such problems where objective measurement is neither possible nor it is desirable. संभव नहीं है, ना ethically correct है ये और ना ही ये करना चाहिए, ना संभव है ना करना चाहिए. तो ऐसे cases में interpretive methods या interpretive techniques को use किया जाता है as an alternative paradigm of research. So these techniques particularly give emphasis on the importance of human beings giving meaning to the events and actions and interpret them as they occur in a particular context. यानी कि यहाँ पे कुछ भी manipulate या कुछ भी create नहीं किया जाता, ये जैसे occur हो रहे हैं परिस्थितियाँ जैसे हैं इनको वैसे ही interpret किया जाता है, इनको वैसे ही measure किया जाता है. ठीक है, यहाँ पे किसी भी तरह का कोई वेरिएबल्स या कोई सिचुएशन क्रिएट नहीं किया जाता, ये जैसे हो रहे हैं सिर्फ वैसे ही इनको ऑब्जर्व किया जाता है या वैसे ही इनको स्टडी किया जाता है, as they occur. The focus is mainly on the subjective interpretation of the reality. The goal of this interpretive technique is to explore, find out करना, explore करना, ठीक है, कुछ confirm या कुछ testing नहीं, सिर्फ explore करना is the main goal. The different aspects of human behavior and experiences without disturbing their natural flow. ठीक है, यानी कि जो बिहेवियर जैसे अकर हो रहा है उसको उसी तरह से बिना किसी छेड़छाड़ के, बिना किसी कोई आर्टिफिशियलिटी क्रिएट करके, वो जैसे नेचुरली अकर हो रहा है उसको ठीक वैसे ही इंटरप्रेट करना. ओके, interpreting the reality. So this is one of the alternative paradigm which is used in psychological research, particularly in studying those situations or those circumstances, those variables where objective methods or objective ways of measurement is neither desirable and nor is it possible. All right. Now we come to the nature of psychological data. Now psychologists collect data or information from different sources employing different inquiry methods. Data forms an important input. Alright, data is a very important input जिसके ऊपर हमारा पूरा research based होता है. The psychologists very objectively and very systematically collect the data or information from varied sources of information, from varied sources of information with using different inquiry methods. Data forms an important input which to some extent provide an opportunity to verify or to falsify our ideas, hunches, notions, etc. ये डेटा ही है जिसके ज़रिए हम अपने रिसर्च क्वेश्चंस पे फर्दर एनालाइज करते हैं एंड इन्हीं पे बेस्ड होती हैं हमारी थ्योरीज, साइकोलॉजी की different theories that occurs in different phenomena. All right. Now we will discuss about the various types of data. There are mainly 4 types of data. One is the demographic information, physical information, physiological data and psychological data. सबसे पहले हम बात कर लेते हैं डेमोग्राफिक इंफॉर्मेशन की. तो ये जो इंफॉर्मेशन है, इट जनरली इंक्लूड्स इंफॉर्मेशन रिगार्डिंग द पर्सनल फैक्टर्स विच आर सुपरफिशियल इन नेचर. पर्सनल इंफॉर्मेशन रिस्पोंडेंट का. रिस्पोंडेंट वो व्यक्ति होता है जिसपे हम अपने एक्सपेरिमेंट्स, टेस्ट्स, ऑब्जर्वेशन करते हैं. ठीक है, वो व्यक्ति होता है, क्योंकि यहाँ पे हमें अपनी टेस्टिंग करनी होती है बिकॉज इसमें हम ह्यूमन बिहेवियर को मेजर करते हैं, उस पर टेस्टिंग करते हैं. इसीलिए हमें कोई व्यक्ति, कोई ह्यूमन बीइंग चाहिए होता है जिसपे हम अपने इंक्वायरी मेथड्स यूज करते हैं एंड डेटा कलेक्शन करते हैं. तो डेमोग्राफिक इंफॉर्मेशन उसी रिस्पोंडेंट का, उसी व्यक्ति का पर्सनल इंफॉर्मेशन होता है, जैसे कि उसका नाम. हालांकि नाम जो है, द पर्सन्स नेम is not necessarily required, all right, because we have an ethical guideline that no part of the respondent has to be revealed. So name is generally kept confidential or certain initials are given as an identification mark by the psychologist. So name is optional. Next is gender, age, बर्थ ऑर्डर. बर्थ ऑर्डर यानी कि उसके कितने सिबलिंग्स हैं और वो किस नंबर पे है. ठीक है, वो सबसे बड़ा है या मझला भाई है या बहन है या सबसे छोटी बहन है या भाई है. ऑलराइट. नंबर ऑफ सिबलिंग्स इज देयर. एजुकेशन, ऑक्यूपेशन इफ वर्किंग, मैरिटल स्टेटस, नंबर ऑफ चिल्ड्रन, लोकेलिटी ऑफ रेजिडेंस, कास्ट क्या है, रिलीजन, पेरेंटल एजुकेशन, occupation of the parents as well as family income. ये सारी superficial though personal information is included in the demographic information. Next is the physical information. जो physical information है, this category includes information about the ecological condition where the respondent stays या where the respondent is residing. वो कहाँ पे रहता है, उसका physical environment कैसा है. So this category of information is about the ecological conditions, यानी कि hilly area में रहता है या desert area में रहता है या forest area में रहता है. Mode of economy क्या है जहाँ पे वो रहता है, housing conditions कैसी है, size of the rooms, facilities available at home, in the neighborhood, in school, and mode of transport. These are considered in the physical information of the respondent. Next is the physiological data. Now this information is related to the physiological aspects of the respondent or the individual on whom we will conduct our research. So such information include height, weight, heart rate, level of fatigue, galvanic skin resistance, electrical activity of the brain which is measured by electroencephalograph EEG, ब्लड ऑक्सीजन लेवल्स, उसका रिएक्शन टाइम यानी कि वो कितना समय लेता है किसी पर्टिकुलर स्टिमुलस पे रिस्पॉन्ड करने में, दैट इज द रिएक्शन टाइम, ड्यूरेशन ऑफ स्लीप, ब्लड प्रेशर, पैटर्न्स ऑफ ड्रीम, amount of salivation, running and jumping rates in case of animals, because animals are also taken in research in psychology. So these are the various physiological data that is taken from the respondent. Next is the psychological data. Psychological information of the respondent is specifically related to the information of the individual's intelligence level, जिसमें हम टेस्टिंग के माध्यम से करते हैं. The person's personality, उसका interest, values, उसकी creativity, emotions, motivation, psychological disorders, if any, illusion, delusion, hallucinations, perceptual judgment, thought processes, consciousness, subjective experiences, etc. ये सारी information जो है it is included in the psychological aspect of the respondent, उसकी psychology. The psychological data is consisting of these information on under these heads, जैसे उसका intelligence level, personality, interest, values, creativity, etc. So these are the various types of data which is collected by the psychologist by using varied modes of inquiry. Now let's start with the various methods of inquiry which is used in psychology for data collection. First of all, we will begin with the observation method. Now observation method of inquiry in psychology, in which observer observes the behavior of the individual and analyzes it as it occurs. Alright, the observation method is a method of inquiry जिसमें कि साइकोलॉजिस्ट जो है वो व्यक्ति को, रिस्पोंडेंट को ऑब्जर्व करता है, उसके बिहेवियर्स को ऑब्जर्व करता है एंड उसको एनालाइज करता है. No part of manipulation is involved over here. The respondent is just observed by the psychologist. The behaviors are observed and analyzed as it occurs. Observation involves various stages जैसे कि selection, recording and analysis. Observation करते समय इन तीन चीजों का ध्यान रखा जाता है, that is selection, recording and analysis. सिलेक्शन प्रोसेस जो होता है इसमें क्या होता है कि साइकोलॉजिस्ट जो है उसके सामने जो भी बिहेवियर आ रहा है वो उन्हीं को ऑब्जर्व नहीं करने लग जाता है. Psychologists do not observe all the behavior that they are seeing in a particular setting. ठीक है, बल्कि साइकोलॉजिस्ट क्या करता है, ऑब्जर्वर क्या करता है, कुछ पर्टिकुलर बिहेवियर्स को सिलेक्ट कर लेता है और उन्हीं को ऑब्जर्व करता है एंड उसको रिकॉर्ड करता है. ठीक है, जैसे कि फॉर एग्जाम्पल आप psychologist is interested in studying upon children's studying behavior, यानी कि क्लास 11th के बच्चों पे वो स्टडी करना चाहते हैं कि वो कितनी देर या किस तरह से अपना समय बिताते हैं स्टडीइंग बिहेवियर में इन स्कूल। तो इसमें साइकोलॉजिस्ट कुछ सर्टेन बिहेवियर्स को जॉट डाउन कर लेंगे। ऑलराइट, ही कैन प्रिपेयर अ लिस्ट ऑफ एक्टिविटीज and go to the school with a view of finding out their occurrences। या तो वो एक पहले से लिस्ट बना लेंगे साइकोलॉजिस्ट, और उसके बाद उसके बेसिस पे वो अलग अलग सिचुएशन पे उन बिहेवियर्स को नोट डाउन करेंगे कि किस तरह से कितनी बार वो पर्टिकुलर बिहेवियर हो रहा है। ठीक है, या फिर अगर उसका अप्रोच थोड़ा एक्सप्लोरेटरी है, अगर वो डिस्कवर करना चाहता है कि कौन कौन से बिहेवियर्स इस पर्टिकुलर टाइम पे इस सिचुएशन में बच्चे करते हैं, तो वो उनको नोट डाउन करते हैं। दिस रेफर्स टू सिलेक्शन, ऑलराइट, वेयर साइकोलॉजिस्ट select the particular behavior for observation। Next is the recording। तो while observing, researcher records the selected behaviors using different means। जैसे कि वो टैलीज बना सकते हैं, अगर उन्होंने लिस्ट बिहेवियर्स की तैयार करके रखी है तो वो उसमें टैली के फॉर्म में बना के वो रिकॉर्ड कर सकते हैं। इसके अलावा वो वीडियो रिकॉर्डिंग भी कर सकते हैं, फोटोग्राफ्स भी ले सकते हैं, शॉर्ट हैंड या सिंबल्स तैयार करके सिंबल्स के माध्यम से भी वो रिकॉर्डिंग कर सकते हैं, या वो नोट्स ले सकते हैं। Alright, so these are the various ways in which an observer can record the behavior he is observing. And after the recording is done, analysis of the data is started. So after all the observation has been made, the various responses have been recorded, psychologists start analyzing whatever they have recorded with a view to derive some meaning out of it. Okay, with a view to derive some meaning out of the observation that has been done. Now, analysis के लिए it is very important for an observer to be very skillful and have a very clear opinion about the things. Any type of subjective biases can destroy the conclusion actually. Alright, so it is important to know that making good observation is a skill. A good observer knows what she or he is looking for, whom he or she wants to observe, when and where the observation needed to be made, in what form the observation will be recorded, what methods will be used to analyze the particular behavior, and what are the ways and what are the major behaviors that is to be taken care of. The observer has to be very careful while observing and analyzing the data. Okay. Now we will come to the various types of observation. तो यहाँ पे आप देख सकते हैं particularly there are two categories of observation which is made. One is naturalistic and controlled observation, which is termed as naturalistic versus controlled observation. It can be depicted with the help of two pictures that I have given over here. You can see one is naturalistic observation where behavior is occurring naturally and the observation will be done by the observer from away from. These respondents don't even know that they are under observation, because if the respondent even gets an idea of that their behavior is being observed in some way, they will change. Alright, next is the controlled observation. Now controlled observation is particularly done in the laboratories or in certain settings where the respondent is brought and there the observation is done. Next category is the participant versus non-participant or non-participant versus participant observation. In this, with the help of this picture, you can clearly see about the participant observation where the researcher is taking part as a member of the group under observation. And in non-participant observation, you can clearly see that this researcher, the observer, is standing away and observing the respondents from not being a member of this group. We will discuss it in the next portion of it. So the naturalistic versus controlled observation. Let's first discuss about the naturalistic observation. So in naturalistic observations, when the observation are done in a natural or real life setting, it is known as naturalistic observation. यानी कि जहाँ पे behavior occur हो रहा है वहीं पे चुपचाप उसको observe करना. This can also be used in case of animals, organisms, where we can observe the behavior just as it is occurring. So in this case, the observer makes no effort to control or manipulate the situation for making any kind of observation. This type of observation is conducted in hospitals, homes, schools, and daycare centers. Alright, in case of controlled observation. So, controlled observation is a type of observation which is also known as controlled laboratory observation. Alright, and data is actually obtained in lab experiment. जब आप लोग इस क्लास में 11th में जब आप एक्सपेरिमेंट्स करेंगे तो उसमें भी आपको अपने रिस्पोंडेंट पे कुछ ऑब्जर्वेशन करना होगा, ठीक है, जिसको हम इंट्रोस्पेक्टिव डेटा में इंक्लूड करेंगे कि उसका इंट्रोस्पेक्टिव एज वेल एज योर ऑब्जर्वेशन इंफॉर्मेशन. ऑलराइट, ऑब्जर्वेशन इंफॉर्मेशन में आपको उसमें रिस्पोंडेंट के जो व्यूज हैं जो उसने दिए हैं उसमें आपको इंक्लूड करना है. ये इंट्रोस्पेक्शन में नहीं, इंट्रोस्पेक्शन में आप रिस्पोंडेंट से फीडबैक लेंगे कि एक्सपेरिमेंट के दौरान उसका क्या एक्सपीरियंस रहा. ऑब्जर्वेशन में आप वो रिपोर्ट लिखेंगे, वो ऑब्जर्वेशन लिखेंगे जो आपने रिस्पोंडेंट के अंदर होते हुए देखा. जैसे कि वो कह रहा है कि एक्सपेरिमेंट बहुत इंटरेस्टिंग था, इट वाज वेरी इंटरेस्टिंग, इस तरह की चीज़ें जो आपने ऑब्जर्व किया. सो लैबोरेटरी एक्सपेरिमेंट्स में भी हम कंट्रोल्ड ऑब्जर्वेशन करते हैं. तो सच ऑब्जर्वेशन इज कंडक्टेड इन अ कंट्रोल्ड एनवायरनमेंट इन लेबोरेटरी. Next, we will talk about the non-participant versus participant observation. In participant observation, see, this is the observer and these are all the respondents. The observer in a participant observation may become a part of the group being observed. Alright, the person being observed may not be aware that he or she is being observed. Alright, so here the researcher, the observer becomes a member of the group on whom this researcher is doing observation. As you can see, it is given in the picture. In non-participant observation, this one, observer may decide to sit in a corner of the class without a corner of the class or even corner of the group. Okay, उस रूम के कॉर्नर पे बैठ सकता है या बाहर से नोटिस कर सकता है, ऑब्जर्व कर सकता है कि जो एक्टिविटीज वहाँ पे हो रही हैं उसको ऑब्जर्व कर सकता है. सो ऑब्जर्वर, इफ an observation is conducted on children in school, so the observer may decide to sit in a corner of the class without interfering or participating in their everyday activities of the persons being observed. Alright, so यहाँ पे respondents को पता भी नहीं होता और वो दूर से उसको observe करता है. In non-participant observation, the observer does not become a member of the group he or she is observing. Rather, he sits at the corner without interfering in any of the activities that is done by these respondents and quietly observes them. So this type of observation is known as non-participant observation. In the next class, we will study about the experimental method. Okay? Thank you all.